What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Greg Hitchko here, and in this video, as you can see, I purchased this 2005 YZ250 behind me for my throwback garage build two-stroke shootout that I'm gonna be doing. And I'm basically gonna go through the bike and figure out whether it was worth the 1,200 bucks that I spent on it. Okay guys, but before I go dive into the bike here, I'm gonna flip over to some classifieds here. This is KSL, the local marketplace here in Utah. I just wanted to show you what the market prices currently are for used YZ250 dirt bikes out there right now. So we see here, 2005 YZ250, 2,800. 2000 for 2,500, 2004 for 5 grand. Who knows, maybe it looks like they might have got some work done to it. Scrolling down a little bit more, an 01 YZ250 not running. 2017, that's a newer one for 6K. But really I was looking for the early to mid 2000s, ideally 03 and up. I wasn't sure if I wanted a steel frame or not, but scrolling down a little bit more, there's an 07 for 4,800. Let me kind of do another search here. I'll put a space in between the YZ and 250. Here we go, 2004 for 3 grand, 2002 for 3,500, 2001 for 3,200. Those are 4 strokes in the middle, and then a 98 YZ250 for 2,500. So the market right now is hot for these 2 strokes, and it was very difficult to find a project bike in the year range that I was looking for. But yeah, let's dive into my bike now, which is an 05 YZ250 that I picked up for 1,200 bucks. All right, so let's finally dive into this bike here. So guys, I bought this bike locally in Utah from a really cool dude named Trevor. I will be releasing a video coming up this week on on tips and questions you need to be asking a seller before you even go look at a dirt bike. But basically in the ad, he had a couple pictures of the bike completely assembled, and also stated that the motor needed to be rebuilt because of something I'm gonna mention later on in the video. But here it is, guys. So this was a desert racing bike, and he owned it for about 8 years, he was saying. I actually don't mind a bike that was used for racing because you know that the owner had to take care of it in order to keep it maintained and running for race shape. So let's kind of dive into the bike here. Starting with the handlebars on top, it's got some pro tapers on it. And it's got the sweet bark busters that are necessary for desert racing. Different top triple clamp from BRP. I've actually never heard of them. Trevor did have a steering stabilizer on it. The thing I did notice, however, is that with this steering stabilizer, the frame has been drilled into, so I'm not super stoked on that, but I'm gonna try to kind of work that out and fix those holes in the frame when I dive into the project for this bike. Suspension on this thing, which is really cool. It actually, in which drew me to this bike, is that it has 2006 KYB SSS forks on them. And if you guys know anything about the Yamahas, these SSS forks are the best in the business and haven't changed pretty much since 2006. Also about these forks is that they have Racetech gold valves in them. So I'll need, and Trevor gave me the settings, but I'm gonna have to call Racetech and get some different shim settings in there to set it up for motocross. It's also got this coolant recovery tank from Motion Pro. I don't need that, but it's pretty cool to have on there. Let me remove the tank here. But radiators aren't bent, which is really nice. They have these braces on them. One thing I did want to point out in the frame was the mounting for the expansion chamber pipe. It was cracked off the frame. I'm not too worried about that because with the spring and mounting to the motor here, and then the pipe also mounts somewhere back behind the motor. I'll try to look into fixing that aluminum there, but kind of scrolling through, it's an 05 shock again, has Racetech gold valves in it. What's unique about this bike is that he actually put an 18-inch rear rim on it for desert and off-road riding. That offers a little bit thicker tire, so you don't pop the tire as much, but I'm gonna be throwing a 19-inch wheel on that. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the outside of the bike. Obviously, it needs to be completely torn down and cleaned up, but now let's dive into the motor, which I received in a box. All right, so if you guys thought the outside of the bike was interesting, let's take a dive into this box because this is where all the pieces to the motor are. Okay, let's get this first bag out here. This looks like all the clutch components, sprocket, the hub in there. Yeah, that is gonna be fun to try to figure out where all these bolts go. What's next up in this box here? Let's take this out. All right, the ignition cover case and the sprocket guard and everything, those bolts, looks like it's got some frame mounts and engine mounts in there. Next bag, we have a bag of Just miscellaneous bolts. So this is going to be fun trying to decipher where the heck all these bolts go. Going into the next bag here, we have the Kickstarter shaft assembly and actually the clutch hub, the clutch cover, the clutch springs, and the transmission gears in there, everything. Next bag, we have the ignition and piston, all the nickel wires and everything. So Kickstarter. Anybody interested in doing this build for me? Because could use some help. Okay, we have the cylinder dome head and then the flywheel weight. And then finally we can dive into the actual cylinder. V-Force 3 reeds on here, which is pretty rad, which I'm really stoked about. So that is the cylinder itself. Okay, we have the right side kind of clutch cover case here. Doesn't seem to be in too bad a condition, but we're gonna have to work through everything and clean everything out. Looks a lot like the Kawasaki that I did. And then finally here, guys, this is where we had our issues. So the reason why this bad boy was, can I get this with two hands? Okay. Get that out of the way. Right. This is the interesting part. So the reason why this bike was only $1,200, here's the story behind it. It needs new left and right side cases. And the reason why is because the bike has so many hours on it, and because it was probably just from normal wear and tear of having so many hours, the shift pin slots where the transmission kind of comes together, those holes inside there hollowed out where the pins go into. And when Trevor was putting this motor back together, it wasn't going back together completely because of those holes being hollowed out and nothing wanted to go back together smoothly and intact. So that is why it was so cheap. I need to get new cases. So the bike was posted for $2,800 on KSL. I can't quite remember. I looked at so many damn bikes. When I was talking to Trevor, he pretty much laid everything out on the table, gave me as much history on the bike and what was wrong with it as possible. And I was brutally honest back in saying that I needed to do my research and due diligence to make sure something like this was worth it for me, because at the price of $2,500, $2,800, whatever it wasn't worth it having to go buy brand new cases and then having to go buy, let's say, a wrench rapid kit for about $500 in order to get that back and working again. So I'm almost looking at $4,000 by that time, and it just wasn't worth it. So I did my research, figured out a price where I need to be, talked to him a couple days later, and then we agreed on the price of $1,200. So worst case scenario, cases are gonna be about $900 from Rocky Mountain. Brand new stock OEM cases, but fingers crossed I can find some used cases on eBay, or if anybody watching this has used cases for a YZ250, let me know, and if they're good condition, I might be able to buy them off of you. So let me know, guys, about that. But yeah, $1,200 plus $900 worth of cases, that puts the price of the bike at $2,100 worst case scenario, plus another $500 for a wrench rabbit kit, let's just say. You're looking at a price of $2,600 for like a used YZ250. And comparing to the prices that we saw on KSL earlier, when bikes are going for $2,500, $3,000, $3,200, $3,500 for bikes in this price range, I don't think I made out too badly with the price of $1,200 for this bike. And overall, I feel good about it. And guys, if you feel good about a deal and your gut is in it and your gut is telling you to go with it, then trust your gut when buying a used bike. So I'm stoked on it as well, because I know it's gonna create some good content for us, and it is gonna be one heck of a project, and I can't wait to get this thing completely finished off, because it is gonna be looking good as the factory Yamaha Chad Reed edition that I'm going to be doing. Now I wanna know what you guys think. So was it a good deal? Was it not a good deal? Should I have paid less? Should I have paid more for the bike? I don't know. Leave a comment below and what you guys think about the YZ250, if you're stoked to see it, and whether you think it was a good deal or not. But here's the deal, guys. You're gonna punch the like button and subscribe to the channel, because guess what? If you haven't heard, I am giving this bike away at the end of the project. One of the 4 bikes I'm giving away. So if you guys wanna win, you need to subscribe to the channel. Go follow me on Instagram. But there it is, guys. That's the intro for the 2005 YZ250 for my throwback garage build 2-stroke shootout project that I'm doing. Stay tuned for more content, because we got the Suzuki coming up, we got the Honda, and then we also got the Kawasaki as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.